Went ahead and skipped all the boring stuff. It's the next day. We're in Tennessee. And my good friend is here, John Schultz. He came from Atlanta, Georgia to hang out with us today, help shoot a few clips with the old camera, and just kind of have a good time. Let's get some breakfast. I need coffee. How the engines come in, everything gets decked, checked through. Actually discovered one of my heads was cracked, sorry about that. I've worked in manufacturing as usually in the office, but yeah, I've never seen a manufacturing floor like this. This is bananas. But you guys do full engine builds, you do LS, you do Pontiac stuff, and this is, I mean, it's the Pontiac performance shop in the world,
yes.
Really.
Yes, we take pride in our Pontiacs. We have a passion for them. That's where it all started with Jim. And I've been racing Pontiacs, been building Pontiacs, been selling Pontiac, dealing with parts for over 30 years myself. So it's an inside passion for me as well. Not only that I work here, but for me personally. I have a 535 in a 2 bracket car myself, and I race it weekly. I have a 69 GTO. So Pontiacs is my thing, but also Pontiacs is our thing. And all of that was derived from Jim Butler himself. But over here is where we started out with your block,
okay.
The line home.
Okay.
After that, one thing that he did, and he does with all blocks, is crank spool and main bearings. And at that time, we checked your clearances after we did the line home. That crank and bearings is married to your block at that time. Name's put on it, it's never separated. It's carried over to Berco, it's decked. After the cylinders are bored, it carries over to the sunning, and they're home to spec. We set a tolerance on it depending on the application. So after that, it's carried back, put in the prep shop, doing what we call a race prep on it.
I mean, you guys know exactly what to send for the application. You can put it together yourself, or you can order a 700 horsepower engine to just drop in.
Sure.
It's anywhere. I think that's kind of cool where, most machine shops, yeah, they can buy you bearings or things, but it's all kind of a mystery. And Pontiacs are not your typical small block Chevy to just throw together. So.
Sure. And that's one of the things that we take pride in. We've been known for building engines, but we also do short block kits, just machine blocks. We do engine kits, we do short blocks, long blocks, various different things. We sell cylinder heads, rotating assemblies. Rotating assemblies we sell over 300 a year. Wow, Pontiac. So with those applications, we have trained professionals up front, salesmen that know exactly what all goes with those, whether it be a rotating assembly, a set of heads, or stuff like that. And it's one thing that we want to be able to do and provide the customer with every bit of information that they can possibly have, to where they don't have those snags and hang-ups along the way.
Yeah, myself, I'm a young guy. I'm not really an expert with any engine, Pontiacs especially, but talking about my needs with my engine, the LS down the road, you guys had the right suggestions. The rockers for one being something I wanted to upgrade. So the studs, getting all the pieces the first time, and their quality stuff. I like that. So what you guys carry is a good price. It's the right stuff. Buy once, cry once. I'm not going to be pulling this engine out.
Lower up is the pistons, main bearings, rings, rods, everything above that. But everything has a name. Everything has a name on it. We don't want anything to get altered, put in the wrong place, separated, so on and so forth.
Oh, this is a proper race shop. It's, like you said, everything's married. It's one engine. You're not just pushing stuff out the door.
Correct.
Very cool.
So we'll bring this back here. This is a shipping area. We've got one crated up there ready to go out. That's a short block there. This is your block here.
Oh. It's beautiful. This is not the grimy, ugly, scored up pile that I sent you. Wow. Cam bearings are done. Everything's, you said it's been line honed and all the tolerances are set for mains and everything. Just slap it together basically and go.
Fully machined.
Wow.
Freeze plugs in it.
This is amazing. I don't know what to say. Wow.
And again,
Yeah.
has a name on it.
I just can't wait to dunk this thing in my car now. I mean, if you want to make a mistake, I'll take that one. That one. Holy crap.
Yeah. That's that's a 800 horse pump gas street engine.
Did you just say those things in that order?
Yeah.
And that is a Pontiac block. There's
That is Pontiac, yes.
no pie in the sky, nothing crazy. That is a Pontiac engine. Holy yes. Mechanical fuel pump. Yeah. Okay. Huh. That is a real deal Ram Air 5 head.
This is a factory Ram Air 5 head.
My understanding is even Hemi parts look common compared to these things now.
Yeah, that is the as people would term it, the holy grail of Pontiac.
You don't just end up with Ram Air 5 parts. They don't send these to a tractor shop.
Right.
That.
Yeah, at one time here of the last 6 months, we had 3 sets of these.
They're enormous.
Here in the shop. And I told you originally or earlier how much I've dealt with Pontiacs through my time, and before I came to work here, I had never seen a set. I came to work here about 5 years ago, and I'd never seen a set. Heard of them, but never seen a set. And then I think it was probably within my first year I saw 1 set. Since then, I've only seen like 5 sets. So they're definitely rare. But we're seeing more of them here of late.
I didn't even know there were that many in existence.
Yeah.
They're enormous. The ports are huge. The valves are huge. These are, I mean, they're race parts.
Yes, and that's what they were designed for. Back, like I said, 69, 70, NHRA, they did a 400 setup with. That's what they were designed for, but they only made them that 1 year, year and a half, and then they done away with them. Now that's the information that I have. That's what I've read up on them.
I'm speechless. I got nothing. This place is amazing. Wow. You guys also do LS quite a bit now. I'm seeing some of the blocks around here. How long have you been doing LS engines?
I think probably somewhere in the 5-6 year range.
Okay.
Something like that.
Yeah, and the same kind of thing you guys do build to suite, whether it's a short block kit like the one over here or complete engine builds.
Along the way. This is our core bank right here.
See, you have a few.
And so if somebody doesn't have a block, we can easily provide them with a block or a set of heads.
That's amazing. I didn't even realize that. So,
And we have a building that has, I think they just counted it the other day, has 64 in there, 64 cores. So
if a guy was looking for even a specific set of years, like an early F body or
correct,
71 400 kind of thing, you might have one.
might have one. That's correct.
Wow.
We definitely don't sell our cores, but we're able to use those for short block kits or engine kits or short blocks or engines.
So, if you do not have an engine, no need to LS swap. That's awesome. And you've measured the chamber volume. It's got all new valve guides. These have been cut to accept the new seals. All I have to do is basically drop in valves and drop on springs.
Correct.
Wow. These look amazing. Think about that. I'll probably have to get freeze plugs for these while I'm here too.
I think we've already included them in your
Excellent.
paperwork and everything.
Excellent. You guys did think of everything. Wow.
You have one stripped out down here. We went ahead and prepared that for you.
Thank you. Holy cow. Huh.
Well, it's one thing that we don't want is, you know, you bolt the head on, not think about that, and go to bolt up a manifold to it. Oh, wait a minute, I got a stripped hole here.
Yeah, with this angle, there's no way to tap that next to
pull
the
it back
steering
off.
sector. That would have been a bad day. Wow. Looks like everything's been tapped. These are amazingly clean.
Yes, every block, whether it's block or heads, we bottom tap every hole, every one of them.
Yeah, this is not the kind of machine work that we get where I live. That's, if I don't have this together quickly, it's my fault. 100%. Wow. Every surface is like arrow straight and perfect and decked. Wow. It's not gonna leak anymore. These are the junk heads that I sent you?
Correct.
These are off of 2 junk engines.
Correct.
I cannot wait to put this together.
Yeah, the machines that we use whenever we get the blocks in or heads in, they can have just the old gunky grime, grease, and so on and so forth, and rust. And through that time of process, clean comes out looking like a brand new piece of cast iron.
You would not know that I sent you 40-year-old heads that don't match. This is incredible. Wow. All right. Well, I guess.
So I'll let David talk to you about that as well. These have been cleaned, like I said, and have been brushed and deburred.
This is a jewelry box, is what this is.
Your spiral locks. Now these take 2 per side.
Okay.
It'll tell you that on the side right here. So double. So you'll wonder why in the world do I have 32 of these? Well, that's why.
Make sure to put them all in so the pins
Correct.
don't fall out.
Correct. You'll have a little bit of slop if you don't.
Yeah, that would be ungood.
And then this is your crankshaft here. Not much to see there other than it's in a bag. We can get that out.
No.
It has been balanced, of course. But
I mean, this engine's going to be good for a lot more RPM than it originally was.
and I've got no problem. We can go ahead and get it out, lay it out here, however we need to do it. As far as we want to give everybody the props that we need.
You know, if that's something that Eagle wants to see, then I'd absolutely do that for him. Wow.
So, no problem. We can take the box and lay it out over there somewhere, lay the crank out, lay the piston on top of the box, the rod on top of the box. It probably would look a little nicer.
Yeah, this is a far cry from the $1,000 car I yanked out of the guy's driveway.
Let's slide this over here. I made a mistake one day. We did 2 crankshafts and a set of heads. And crankshafts was laying right here. Heads were right there. And the customer was here. And I hope he can. I'm not going to use the audio.
Yeah, it's just good to see.
Is that an end mill or a ball mill?
Ball mill. So I do like adaptive just to clear out, but I like doing it with ball mill. It leaves a nice little pattern in the bottom, but then I outline it so smooths all the edges down real nice.
That's a Haas as well.
This is a pretty unique machine. This is made for head porting. It's totally set up for just head porting.
But you're using it to engrave a valve cover.
We can do, yeah, we do a little bit of everything with it. It's also, it's a 5-axis machine, but it can do all your 3-axis work.
So it's just part of the custom stuff you guys do for. So the customer specify that, or is that something you said this is what we offer? This is one here.
We do a little bit of both. Just did some cool valve covers for a road race engine. Put some custom logos on it. And then other things we like to just have, like these are Firebird covers, so they're custom. But once we did them for a customer, we started offering them.
So this is available in your catalog?
Absolutely.
Cool. What was your name?
My name's Anthony.
Anthony?
Yeah, nice to meet you,
Nice to
man.
meet you.
Oh, that's cool. I almost said out loud that I can't believe they're milling these, but I can. I mean, look at the Haas. Like, look at this machine. Holy cow. Why are we even allowed in here? Why?
I question that all the time.
I put a junkyard block with so much bearing material into a garbage bag and sent it to him on a pallet that had like oranges on it or something. And this is what I'm getting back. This. A completely balanced rotating assembly, big block Chevy rods, custom pistons made for Butler, and what appear to be brand new castings. Okay. Sure. This shop throws away parts that are better than what I install. So these are obviously a little bit different than the stock pistons, those being, I believe, a press pin. These actually have a retainer clip.
Yes.
I noticed it says Butler inside of the piston.
Yes, this is something pretty special to us. So traditionally through the years with custom piston manufacturers, they have forgings made for a specific engine. Well, Pontiac typically, in their mind, did not do enough volume to justify a specific forging. After working with Ross for years and doing a lot of pistons, they came to us and said, "Hey, you know, it's time. Let's make a forging specifically for these Pontiac stroker combinations." We had never had that before. As far as I know, almost all aftermarket piston companies would many times use a forging originally designed for a small block Chevy because it was relatively close in valve layout and dimensions. So what we've done with Ross is we've had specific forgings made just for these Pontiac combinations. So what you end up with is the valve pockets, the piston size, everything fits the forging better in final machining. Therefore, you typically get a lighter piston in a given combination, and as strong or stronger than the heavier pistons.
No kidding. So what we end up with here, big block Chevy rod, custom piston, probably actually lighter than the original piston and rod and a whole lot stronger.
Oh, there's no comparison. We're talking between the rod piston combination, literally pounds off of your rotating mass. Not
Pounds?
Yeah, not ounces. It
Pounds.
adds up that much. I mean, we're talking a huge between piston, wrist pin, and connecting rod. Huge difference in weight.
Yeah.
And like you said, much stronger. And on top of that, not just a forged rod, but a 6/8 rod. So we added the rod length to it. It's a better rod angle. Helps with piston side loading, cylinder wall loading, and things like that.
Yeah, so like when I came to you, I was kind of on a budget, and this is an engine I can rev out to 5,000 or more RPMs comfortably.
Or 6,000, or basically your valve train on a hydraulic combination is going to be the limitation, not the bottom end. You can turn it.
Yeah, and that's the nice thing. I can put this together myself, and if down the road I decide to get like Edelbrock aluminum heads that you sell and a solid roller, this is an engine that'll add 200-300 horsepower overnight.
And the bottom end's ready for it.
Yeah.
It's no problem. And the good thing about that is years ago, this is would all be one-off custom pieces. This is all things we have in stock on the shelf.
I'll be honest, looking at your prices, I mean, I'm pricing out LS stuff, small block Chevy stuff. It's not expensive. It's not what people think pie in the sky that you're going to spend 10 grand to build this engine.
Not anymore. We don't feel it is. It's
No.
We think of Pontiac is between the parts availability, the power we can make, and the price points. It's as viable of an engine combination as anything out there.
I couldn't even touch an engine swap for the amount of money I'm putting into a brand new engine. Which
And again, you're going to keep Pontiac in your Pontiac.
I love that. Honestly, for me, it's less work, and I'm going to have tons of torque that I couldn't have gotten anywhere else.
Oh, absolutely. There's no comparison to the torque this thing's going to make. So, and we always say it's kind of the best of both worlds. Huge torque, but with the long rod, lightweight parts, it revs like a small engine.
So this is a stock throw on the crank.
Okay, now this, so for the, this is a 4 1/4 stroke.
Okay, so this is different than stock.
Yes, so a 455 originally had a 4.21 stroke.
Yes. Okay.
So this is a 4 1/4 stroke, which is a more common stroke. We also have the 421 strokes.
Yep.
But with the 4 1/4 stroke, it also comes with a 2.200 rod journal. So you get more rod bearing options and more rod options. We have multiple rod lengths we can use.
Right. That's something again that I like. Just looking at your site, there weren't 1,000 options. This one is the big block Chevy route, or you can go stock cranks.
Stock dimensions with stock rod.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. That's amazing. And again, the cost of them is really, really close. No matter whether I'm doing LS or this, it's
Well,
very competitive.
that's the other benefit of using a big block dimension rod. The rod bearing, it is the same piece, so therefore the same price versus the Pontiac rods are a little more expensive because, of course, the volume's lower on those from
Absolutely.
manufacturers. So another benefit by using this combination is price point.
I can't believe this is the engine that's going into my car. Now, block and head wise, we just cleaned these up. I mean, I sent you. Are they not the nastiest ones you've ever seen?
No, we're used to it. We were dealing with 50-year-old parts, and we've seen everything you can imagine. So it was nothing new for us. But they cleaned up well.
Yeah, no kidding.
And we kind of pride ourselves on that. Even our cleaning process, we want it to look like a new piece of cast iron when you get it, even though it is 50 years old. And yeah, it did look bad when we got it, but
Yeah, I was not proud, and I actually cleaned them. I'm embarrassed to say that, but I oven cleanered these things, and they were still terrible. The bores, these were 30 over to begin with when I tore down the block, and it was pretty rough. So what did these come out to be?
this is now 60 over.
Okay.
And we sonic test cylinders here, and this block had no problem being 60 over. We do that commonly, but we do sonic tests. We have the ability to do that. When we're dealing with 40 and 50-year-old blocks, we want to do that. There's always core shift, could be rust in water jackets, things like that. So that's the other reason we bake these things the way we do, is because it not only cleans the outside, it cleans the water jackets, gets everything down to the raw cast iron. Then we can see what we're working with.
I'm dealing with an engine here now that'll last another 50 years the way I drive it.
Oh, no problem. No problem.
It's all ready to go. I mean, the freeze plugs are in it, the cam bearings are in it.
Yep. In a kit, an unassembled kit that you're going to build, the only thing we leave out are the oil galley plugs. We want the builder to do their final inspection.
Okay.
Of course, we've cleaned it and we've checked it. But we want you to be confident in that too. So we've changed over to screw-in oil galley plugs instead of the traditional drive-in that came in the front of the block.
Okay.
So once you check your oil galleys, you're satisfied they're clean, then you'll put in your oil galley plugs, which we provide to you. Otherwise, yes, it's ready to start assembly. We've already blueprinted the block along with your rotating assembly. Something else we do is we won't machine just a block to a quote-unquote spec, a book spec. We only machine blocks if we have your crank, your main bearings, so the main bearings you're going to use, the crank you're going to use, your pistons. We might each part, then we machine to that particular part. So we have already set the clearances for you.
This is worlds apart from how I learned to do it.
Well,
having to label each piston because they're all egg shaped.
Right. Yeah. And back in the day, we did all that. We used to stamp our pistons with some older, older type pistons, but with the raw stuff, again, you're talking about a tenth or two variance. I mean, literally holding it in your hand and heating the thing up with the temperature change will change the piston more than that. So no, it should be ready to build.
It's as nice as any modern or brand new engine block you can buy. It's amazing.
That's what we're going for.
This is nothing short of amazing. I can't thank you enough for the opportunity.
Oh, absolutely.
This is so cool.
Well, this is what we do. We love doing it, and I, not to hurt your feelings or anything, but we didn't do anything special for you. This is the way we do these things. There's just to us. That's the if we're gonna do it, this is the only way we're gonna do it.
It felt personal to me.
I appreciate that, and it should. Again, this was your combination specific for you, but what I'm saying is we didn't do anything extra for this combination. This is just what we do on these things.
That's what brought me back as a return customer. Honestly, it began as just getting an oil pan and some gaskets, and on 2 or 3 websites, I couldn't find the right stuff. I couldn't get what I wanted. They didn't have the oil pan. It ended up being more expensive most places.
You mentioned that, I think, in the first email.
And their techs didn't know their feet from their hands. It was rough. I'm sorry. No, go ahead. It's just I'm very impressed. Like end to end, from
thank
buying
you.
the simplest thing to getting a complete engine block ready to assemble.
Well, and we like to hear that. That's what I need to know. I like the fact that you did look other places, that you did your research. You looked for the parts. You've done this before. You've built engines. You know what you're doing. And that you still came back to us. That means a lot. I appreciate that. But that's what I want to hear.
There's a good reason I'm dropping my LS off while we're here today.
Yep, we're good.
We're going to do this again. I've done LS swaps. I know what's involved in putting one together or doing a swap in this. I'm going to be much happier with this than end up doing a 5.3 or something else. And the torque and the feel of an old school muscle car is just unbelievable.
Yep.
This is going to make it a whole new animal.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And again, it should be easy for you. We really specialize in these kits. There's only so many engines we can build here in-house. There's only so many hours in the day. And we actually do these kits and ship to a lot of shops that they can do the machine work, they can source the parts, but it's just so much easier because, like you said earlier, we've already put the package together. They don't have to order a set of rods and a set of pistons and bearings from all these different places. We put it all together, put it on a pallet, it comes to them, and it's ready to go together. So we do this same service for a lot of other shops, actually, just because it saves them so much time.
It's amazing. I'm just going to keep saying that. That's my new catchphrase. It's amazing.
Well, we're glad you're impressed, glad you like it. That's what we want.
This is not what I sent you, and I don't know why this is going in my car. I cleaned up the K member in the engine bay for this, and it's no longer good enough. Look at that thing. Frame connectors.
Yeah, you're gonna need those.
The door's still closed right now. I'm very happy with that.
You're right. Yeah, you're about to put some torque in.
I think we've got most of what we need. I mean, the only other question would be, because I'm a rookie now, so we've changed the rod length, the throw of the crank, the bores. This combination is going to end up closer to 470 cubic inches, right?
It's actually going to be 474 at the 60, 474 cubic inch. Also, with the 455 block, there's no clearance for you to do. We didn't have to do anything on the 455 block. We build basically the same combination in 400 blocks, and there's just a slight amount of block clearance for the counterweights.
Okay.
Again, we have a lot of guys, even builders, that ask us, that's a big question. I'm going to put a stroker in my Pontiac. What do I have to do? They're used to small block Chevys where they're milling out for rod bolt clearance and things like that. The Pontiac blocks all being the same size, clearance is already there. So like I said, on the 400 blocks and 350, there's a slight amount of clearance and very little, nothing on the 455.
I did not realize that. You can build these all the way north of 500 cubic inches, no problem.
We could put a 4.5 stroke crank to build, say, a 501 cubic inch out of the same block, and again, very little or no clearance.
Wow.
So, yeah, it definitely makes it easy to stroke these things.
Yeah, so I've actually got some brand new stainless steel valves I ordered from you guys. I've got the 7/16 thread in rocker studs and a little bit of adjustability that way. So that just comes down to now I've got some power springs and a nice streetable flat tappet cam. So
Yeah.
this will be mild for now at
Yeah.
400 plus horsepower.
Yeah, with unported heads, yeah, you'll be in the low 400s probably, with basically a stock head, if you don't port them. But it's
I feel
going
like
to
I
make
have to now.
Yeah, but it's going to make well over 500 foot-pounds of torque with this stroke. You know, probably 550 plus.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I watched Richard Holtner took one on the Dyno. I follow a lot of YouTube guys trying to learn about this stuff because I don't know old school engines. I don't know cam dynamics very well. So
Yeah.
unbelievable. And it was a 455 block. I think 464 cubes. And these same heads, they made over 500 foot-pounds of torque.
Yes.
It was. I can't put anything together with a junkyard anything that's close to that.
And the torque will be instant. You know, it's going to, it'll be quick, have a great torque curve. You know, like you said earlier, building the bottom end the way you did, you can upgrade to a hydraulic roller cam or even a solid roller and aluminum heads, and they'll bolt right on this combination. Yeah. And then you've got a 550 to 600 horsepower engine with 600 plus foot-pounds of torque, just by bolting on a different top end on the same bottom end.
I can't pull enough weight out of that car for any other engine to motivate it that way. I've made the right decision.
We're good. We think so.
I'm gonna speed the whole way home. Oh, wow, just amazing. So you guys actually fly cut my heads too for the. I guess I hadn't even touched on that, but these are all brand new valve guides, and you cut these to fit the more modern Lyton seals.
Yep, so we start with just the bare head casting, remove the guides, we put in new bronze guides, we machine the spring pockets, we machine the guide bosses down for positive locking seals, so it takes a 500 seal. Of course, all the surfaces are machined. With the block and heads both, all the bolt holes are tapped. We remove any broken bolts, we actually tap every bolt hole, clean out all the freeze plug holes. Again, we try to make this as easy as possible when you get it back to assemble. So you literally do your final inspection.
And just for clarification, all that machining is done on that Haas over there that's making the noise we hear in the background.
Well, the machine's done on different machines.
Different machines, okay.
So we do porting on the Haas 5-axis as well as we make other parts. Some of the machining's done on our SERDI, the valve job. Sunning guide home machine. Our other mills, we may do some of the machining as far as the surfacing or spring pockets and things. So different parts of this process are done on different machines. Denon Tony the block. Denon, he's our block guy. All he does here is machine blocks every day. Pontiac blocks and LS blocks. So that's what he does all day. So wow, he's very good at it. He's very good at what he does. And
So this is where assembly happens?
yes, this is where your final assembly. All the parts are prepped, cleaned, painted, put on a cart. Each customer has their own parts cart. Then we roll them into the assembly room, and this is where Rodney builds all the engines.
Wow. That's definitely an aftermarket block. Wow.
Yeah, so this is an aftermarket block. It's got all the rock heads. This customer likes to have them polished. And it's what we call our wide port head. So what we've done is taken the standard Pontiac port, we've moved the push rod over so we can make the port quite a bit wider than the stock head.
Wow.
And you've done that here and here and here.
Yes, we've moved the intake push rods over to make the intake.
Oh, all the intake, okay.
Yes, so we moved.
Okay, I see that
You
now.
see each one's moved out. You can see the offset on the rocker arm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it used to be here.
Yeah. We also use an offset lifter. Try to keep the push rod. It's got a little angle, but try to keep it as straight as possible.
What is the limit on the amount of horsepower you can push through an engine like this?
Well, as far as the block goes, with our twin turbo stuff, Rodney, he dynoed his personal twin turbo engine 15 years ago. He made 2880, almost 2900.
Oh, is that all?
Yeah, he's definitely made more since then. That's the most he's had on the dyno. He typically doesn't dyno those engines anymore. He tunes them in the car, so just a little bit.
That's what mine looked like when they came in. Rusty, grimy, stripped out holes, and they came out like I have.
I think
that.
I think yours looked a little worse than that.
Yeah, they suck. They were bad. One of them was even cracked.
These have been through just an initial cleaning. They're going to go back through.
Wow.
So
That's amazing. And they come out looking like brand new. Holy cats.
I literally think everything we got's already been. It moves pretty quick. Once it comes in, it gets cleaned. It's the first thing we do before we can really check it for cracks, sonic tests, things like that. We have to get it cleaned. That's the first thing we do as it comes in.
So what's this machine called?
Okay, this is our thermal cleaning equipment. It's a system. So it starts in this machine, and we bake the cast iron, whether it's your block or your cast iron heads. And so it turns and bakes, and for a certain amount of time. And what happens is you can see inside the water jackets. There's no rust in the water jackets.
Sorry, we're in your way. You have work.
Yeah, you're the short guy in the room again.
I'm with you. I'm always looking up at these guys. So this is where it starts. We bake, and it bakes everything out of the oil galleys. You get all that, the crud and just the baked in oil over all those years. So the oil galleys are just as clean as this on the inside. Inside and out, this block is that clean.
So how hot for how long?
Temperature wise, see, I think we're running somewhere in like the 250 range, or is it?
Aluminum, we're running about 250 on
Cast iron.
Cast iron, we're running about 550.
Oh, we're running that hot. Okay. Yeah. And so there may be these 40 to 50 year old blocks. There may be a little stress relieving going on there at the same time too when you heat them like that. So yeah, like I say, we're over 500 degrees to bake these things.
So you don't have to get them super hot, just hot enough to bake the crud off.
Yeah, to bake the crust. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And
For how long again?
typically, what are you running these now?
Anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour. Depending on the block.
Yeah, what was your name?
Brady.
Brady. Nice to meet you, Brady.
Brady does a lot of the cleaning, parts prep work, inspection, things like that. So it moves from this machine with the hoist into this. This is running now, as you can hear. So there's a block in this, and so this is a shot blaster. So anything that's still there after it's baked is still hanging on. The shot blaster blasts it all off there, and then this turns it and blows all the shot blast out. So it's a 3-step process for the cleaning. Then we move over here to our Magnaflux table, and that's where we check for cracks. We Magnaflux the blocks and the heads and check for any cracks. We visually inspect, and mark anything that needs to be fixed or checked. And then we also do our sonic testing here, sonic test the cylinders to see how thick they are. Now this is one of our Magnaflux magnets to check for cracks. So we buy a lot of cores. You'll see them on the racks out here. We also have a storage container with block cores in. So again, these things are 50 years old. You don't know what they've been through. So after it comes through there, we inspect it, and if we see a cylinder that needs to be sleeved, things like that, we'll bring it in here for inspection, mark all that, so we know what we get into.
You can make basically a brand new block out of this scaly, eaten up block.
Oh yeah, again, just like yours.
Wow.
Every surface is going to be machined, lifter boards honed, every bolt hole's tapped, rethreaded if needed. Yeah, so it's when we're done, it's like a new block.
This Titanic level scale, and it's going to make
salvaged. And that's what, this block is in that stage right now. You got to be confident in it, obviously. So that's what we do. We have had guys with very rare, early Super Beauty blocks and things like that it needed an all 8 cylinder sleeve. We normally wouldn't do that, but if it's a rare enough piece, then some guys would like to do that. Here's our sonic test equipment. So it's pretty simple. We calibrate this to each block. So we'll measure a known area like this. We'll measure with the sonic tester, calibrate it to this particular piece of cast iron, and then we can check our cylinders anywhere else if we need to check.
Yeah, so I'm not just putting together a block that looks clean. It's actually rigid and solid all the way through.
It's checked. If it doesn't pass these inspections, we're not going to machine it.
Yeah, so you're ready to go get the Sonic. It wasn't a screwdriver.
Yeah. This oil pump already has it's already been tested, wet tested. So.
Wow. I had some questions. I looked at it. It was like $10 or $20 or more, but
It's a little more. Yeah, it's definitely more money, but there's a lot here. It's not just. You hear the term blueprinted oil pumps? They're basically going through and they're clean. That's not this pump. New plate, oil retention, holes and grooves in the end of the gear so they don't dig into the plate. That's very common. Remachine the bypass ball area. That's a real issue on Pontiac oil pumps. Issues with the bypass. So the ball area has been remachined, diamond lapped the shaft, the housing where the shaft goes through. So every surface on this thing has also been remachined and blueprinted.
yeah, and as far as I'm concerned, what we're talking about is it's $20 to protect the entire investment. You're making 800 horsepower. The last thing you want is a cheap oil pump.
Yeah. Again, these things are actually they're probably not quite double what a stock oil pump would be, but again, you're not talking about $1,000 here. You're talking about $150 oil pump versus you're going to pay, say you're going to pay $80 for a stock type pump. But what's it worth not to have to pull the oil pan back off or pull the engine out of the car?
Which on every F body is what has to happen.
Yeah. So that's an important piece for us, and we're really proud to have that. That saved us and our customers a lot of issues since we've had this failure.
So what's the deal here? I lost one of my flywheel bolts and need to replace them. There's actually a couple options to choose from.
There are, and we always put new flywheel bolts in. All of our fasteners, we recommend you put all new fasteners. Again, they could be 40 to 50 years old. So ARP has a Pontiac flywheel bolt. If you'll notice, it comes with a washer and a large shoulder. So you have to use the washer, or the shoulder will bottom out into the crankshaft. The only issue we've seen with this is on certain aftermarket clutches, the clutch springs will actually rub the bolt head because the washer spaces it closer to the clutch springs.
Okay.
So what we've done, we found another part number that are the correct thread dimensions, and it's the perfect length without a washer. So it gives you extra clearance for any of your aftermarket clutches, so the clutch springs won't contact those. So this is what we use, and this is what I'll send with you.
That'll work. Water pump.
I have stock water pumps.
Okay.
These are not that much more in my opinion, but two things: it's aluminum.
Okay.
I don't have to worry about corrosion. But the big thing is it's a true high flow water pump.
Okay.
So if you're adding horsepower to this thing, you may add more horsepower in the future.
Yeah.
The last thing you want is to run high. So that would be bad. Yeah. So this is a flow cooler brand. We sell and use a ton of these. We use on every engine we build. So you normally see either a cast impeller or a little steel tin impeller on the reproduction water pumps. This has a billet aluminum high flow impeller in it.
Wow.
It moves a lot of water.
Awesome.
So that's what I would recommend you going with.
Cool.
Yep. Stock length snouts, your pulleys.
Awesome.
I'll line back up. Yeah.
I feel good about this.
Good.
I do not want to go to all that work and burn down the new engine.
Yeah.
That would be ungood.
Yeah. We spend a lot of time on the tech side. We do a lot of tech on this stuff for customers. And one of the number one questions is overheating on these older Pontiacs. We spend a lot of time helping guys. And we offer kits to convert over older water pump timing cover setups to your more efficient setups, and it helps lots. Nothing worse, you redo the whole car, you redo the whole engine like you're doing, and you're scared to drive it because the thing gets hot. You know, it's just nothing worse.
Yeah, I'm gonna drive this hard and a lot, so.
Yeah, you want to be confident in it. So this with a good radiator will keep it cool.
Yep. Okay, so like we talked about when we machined your mains, we have your crank and your bearings. We check clearances with your particular parts, not just to a spec out of the book. So same thing with the cam bearings. Again, these blocks are 40 to 50 years old. Once we heat these things, bake them, and just over time, they tend to move a little bit. And so even though it was running fine with the stock cam, you put new cam bearings in, it's very common cam will go in, or it goes in, it's very tight. So we have fitted these cam bearings to your particular, to a new Pontiac cam already. So Wow.
It's a question we get a lot. It was running fine before. Why will my new cam not go in with my new bearings? Or why is it tight when it goes in? So, the reason again, a stock engine, when it was put together from the factory, it went through a break-in process. These are soft Babbitt bearings. They literally will wear in. That's what's happened to a lot of the factory ones over the years. And like I said, from the possible overheating over the 40 or 50 years the block's been run, the blocks actually move around. Things aren't in line anymore. So more often than not, the cam bearings have to be fitted.
Okay.
Same thing, we had to fit your cam bearings.
Wow.
But that's been done already, so your cam is ready to slide and go.
Being kind of being a novice as an engine builder, that's huge. I don't feel like I'm gonna put this together and find a whole bunch of metal in the pan on day 2.
Right. We definitely don't want that. And so those kind of things. And sometimes you've got the short block built and you go to put the cam in. We hear this all the time with shops that they put new cam bearings in. Again, the block, it was running with a cam to start with, they don't think about it, and then the new cam won't go in. And the cam bearings have to be actually sometimes cut because they're a soft Babbitt bearing. Of course, you need to do that before the final cleaning process. So that has been done with your block already. Main item. Yeah, Dyno. This is our Dyno control room. Rodney's in there with the engine. Gives the final adjustments. These work. 461 cubic inch.
Okay.
Cast iron heads like yours.
Okay.
And the customer's engine he brought in had some issues, and that's what Rodney's sorting out right now. So we just went through the whole engine top to bottom.
Okay.
Real similar combination to yours.
Okay. No kidding.
This has got a really mild hydraulic roller cam where you have a flat tap.
Yep.
This is actually a little smaller cam than what you're going to run. We're running a Poly Sniper EFI. That's what the customer had already. Almost 475 horsepower, 570 torque. Yeah.
With a quote small cam.
Yeah, very mild hydraulic roller. Said stock cast iron heads. They've had a little bit more work done on them.
That's a lot more responsive than that other one. That other one had a hog in it.
It came to us from a customer with some EMI issues as well as some internal issues with the engine. So sort the engine out, how it works with EMI. Very consistent, 475 horsepower, 573 torque on that bolt. It's making peak power at 5,100 RPM. So,
Yeah, you can hang your hat on that.
yeah, very flat torque curve. When he started to pull at 3,100, it's already making 551 foot-pounds of torque. So, at the start of the pull.
This thing just about makes more torque at idle than a small block.
So that would tell us it's 500 plus foot-pounds at 2,500 RPM.
Wow. That is I'm impressed. I have a lot to live up to now. Got all the right parts, so it shouldn't be that hard.
And we thought we got put it together and had some issues. And that is the downside. That's where we always are very free with our information. When somebody's building around it, or having somebody build it. Like I said before, we don't try to tell them what to do. We're here to give any tech, any specs, any help, when you buy these kits from us. Because at the end of the day, we want it to be right. That's why this one's back here had some issues, but nothing's too serious. We got it worked out. It's just going to make a really good combination. It's no joke.
Zero right now, so they still want out of bounds. So I guess I got too much air balance.
So how did you find the crack? Was it a sonic crack that you located?
No, it's in that Magnaflux process.
Okay.
Back there. So this is Magnaflux powder. And is that one right there? Is that one of them?
One right here in the seat.
And so if you see,
Right there.
yeah, do you see this line?
Yeah.
Here? That's the Magnaflux powder that the magnet pulls into the crack.
Oh.
So we've got two yellow marks here. So that's a crack that runs through here all the way from that exhaust across the seat up into the chamber.
How did this run so well?
And we see that a lot. That it runs. It's not. There's no water in this particular area until you get further back here. So it probably wasn't leaking water at the time.
Just a little tiny, teeny bit of compression. Wow.
The problem with cracks is they get bigger. They keep,
Yeah.
So it's just something we couldn't.
I'm gonna put this on my shelf of speed parts that were sacrificed.
Okay, there you go.
I like this. This is cool.
Yeah,
Good God, it's heavy.
That's the reason we save it.
Yeah.
So we've got our LS dropped off and we've got the Pontiac picked up. So big thanks to everybody here at Butler for taking the time today to kind of explain everything. Huge thanks to John here, running the camera, chasing us around, getting all these awesome shots you guys are enjoying. So make sure like, comment, share, subscribe. Check out Butler Performance. They've got their LS and their Pontiac sites both. If you are building an engine, I highly recommend going to them first. We got everything from our brake-in oil to the whole engine gone through here. So I'm really excited to tear into this thing. We're gonna run home and get started as soon as possible. Thanks for watching.
He's running home, I'm driving.
We just left Butler Performance. Huge thanks again to John. I am Memphis bound. Until next time, like, share, and subscribe. You're watching Mad Scientist Garage, and we are about to make one out of control Trans Am tribute car. Catch you later.